Hi everybody. I know it's been a while since I last recorded, but today's Friday, and I figured I might as well at least record a video. Maybe do something productive today. So here's what I'm doing. I am going to do something, I don't know, but I challenged one of my friends on Facebook. She was a little bored, she has the drawing in the middle of the night syndrome. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw dragons together. We're both going to draw dragons. We're going to post them on Facebook tomorrow, and we're going to see who has the better dragon. Well, I am kind of an inspiration artist, I draw off of inspiration, either pictures that people send me that they want me to draw for them, or actual artifacts that I have, like the knife on the wall back there. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a sketch of what a dragon might look like, maybe. And then what I'm going to do afterwards is I'm going to show you the sketch, and then, I'm going to try and do things. So I'm going to go on Google Images. I'm going to look up bad-ass dragons. I'm going to find one that I think is awesome looking. I believe I have found one. That is pretty amazing. Alright. Time to do first sketch, and of course, ghetto, I sketch with a mechanical pencil. So this should be good. It'll look pretty good. I'm going to take this notebook page out. I'm going to draw on the front of my Dungeons & Dragons notebook here. I'm going to try and capture the perfect image, and I'm going to hum along as I draw. Maybe. I don't know. I suck at humming. But eventually this should look like something good. Maybe. Probably. Possibly. It's possible. Here we go. I'm starting my first few strokes now. Not so sure if I should try and do a perfect drawing of this dragon, or if I should just try and make it look kind of like it. Okay, getting the little snout. It's got a little horn on it. Out there, it's kind of cute. Okay, in the head, it's got a little bump for its eye. Second horn. Alright. Yeah, that's looking pretty solid. Okay, and the thing about this guy, he is actually spewing flames from his mouth. So that's going to be interesting to try and draw. I'm going to try and capture every last bit of detail. I may or may not, I don't know. The extent of my art abilities is rather limited. But I've got the start so far. This is what his head kind of looks like for now. It's a pretty neat looking thing. I'm going to draw the bottom half of his jaw. I've got the side jowl, both horns. I think I messed up one of them. But I've got to finish and extend his jaw down the bottom. He's got little spike things off the side of his neck here. You can see part of his left side of his body, both wings and his tail. It's a rather interesting drawing, and I am going to enjoy the challenge of drawing this. Hopefully I can, finish drawing this with you guys watching. If I can, great. If I cannot, that is fine as well. I can always do things off cam. I will at least finish this attempt with you guys. I may or may not be able to do the full drawing with you, seeing as I don't have all of my utensils here. Alright, now we're going to start on the fire. It is coming from this little area right here, and it's spewing in a beam down to the bottom towards the left area. So I'm going to attempt to draw like a fiery molten-esque style here for the fire. I'm going to try and do that with by extending out the lead and using kind of like the making it flat and then using that. Only problem is that's going to leave a few odd markings in there. So what I'm going to do is when I do the base, I'm going to smudge it with my finger and go back over it with the pencil again. So here we go. I'm going to start. I'm going to just kind of fill in the area lightly using a long pencil. I'm going to try and do it in circular motions so that it will fill out like a sphere, at least for the beginning part. Alright. I may or may not add contour lines to the horns because they have some inlet, but here's the beginning of the ray of fire. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our finger and we're going to smudge it around in a circular fashion to make all the little lines disappear, make it look like one perfect little smudge. Okay, like that. And as you can see, I have a little darker line going through it right there. We're going to smudge that as well by adding a little bit more pressure with our finger and pushing down towards the bottom of the page. See, now it's all smudged. I can go through there with the lines and add the texture and the context of the fire's beginning, but it looks more like he's shooting a molten plasma-esque kind of fire instead of like the normal old like breath of fire you would expect a dragon to shoot. This is like a superheated form. I really like this picture. And I'm going to erase the line that I had drawn through the middle, showing where the fire was going to start. I'm going to touch up his right side of his mouth here as it leads into the side of the fire. And the horn meets up there. Alright, and now we're going to begin work upon the upper part of his mouth, first by drawing the multitude of teeth that he has in the upper part of his mouth. Because dragons have tons of teeth, each varying in length so they can tear, rend through armor and stuff like that. Sorry, D&D nerd facts here, but dragons are some of the most powerful creatures, making even some demons fear them. They are incredibly strong and smart. Some are very brutal, others rather passive. This one looks to be one bred for battle, and he looks as though he's seen much of it because he's got, in this picture, at least 3 wounds on each wing. Which, if anyone knows, dragons' wings are the most exposed part of the dragon, but the hardest to actually deal damage to unless you are a skilled archer, because they are usually in a constant flow of motion as they fly around the battlefield. Okay, and that is done for that side of the mouth. Just gotta make a few more teeth there. Alright, and then he's got these lines going from one part of the mouth to the other, so I'm going to try and do that. Fill them over. They're going to be kind of lighter lines, so you can't really see them. They're going to look like it's all one jumble, but when you look at them, there's going to be a multitude of lines crossing from one side of his mouth to the other. And it's going to make this one almost solid looking fill-in from one part of his mouth to the other. Something along those lines, like that. Right. And here we are going to begin the ray aspect of the fire by just drawing guidelines for it, which are just going to show the direction in which I want the fire to go. That's not actually part of the fire. I am going to erase those after I begin it, but it looks rather heated and chaotic, so it is going to extend both over both of these lines and beyond them, so that it doesn't look like I just drew a straight line pattern, because I didn't. But there's going to be varying shades of the gray, because I'm not adding color to this. I've never added color to any of my drawings. Color is not exactly what I'm good with, so which is not going to be fun for the design fundamentals class that I'm in, because I have to go buy a pad of watercolor paper stuff, and we have to get some wash, and if anyone who's done art knows what wash is, that's kind of like an opaque watercolor stuff. Well, we have to do watercolors, which is like my ultimate weakness. I like absolutely suck at watercolor. It's like an awful mesh every time I do it. Alright, so I've got the fire outline done, and I'm filling it in with varying shades of gray here. And I'm going to smudge that. Okay, that's what it looks like right now. I'm going to smudge it, extend it, curve it, make it look more chaotic and less structured. So this is what we do. We just kind of smudge it in multiple directions. You just take your thumb or your finger, it doesn't really matter. But you got to kind of hold the paper so it doesn't crinkle. Mine did a little bit, but that's because I'm using notebook paper. I'm not like using an actual like sketchbook paper, like my knife on the wall behind me is, or the knife above you guys up there is. That's actual sketch pad paper. It doesn't crinkle or move as much, but I'm using what I have available. I'm using my resources because I'm a poor kid and I only have one sketchbook with me, and I don't want to use all of its paper. I will draw the final result onto the sketchbook paper. Like, yeah, absolutely. But I don't want to do that until I have to. So I'm going to do my starting sketch on notebook paper, touch it up on notebook paper, and then draw the finished result on the sketchbook paper, which is in this drawer. It's just my little, actually, it's my watercolor pad. It's what I've drawn several things on, but this is the sketchbook I have with me. It's actually what I have to use for my watercolor. A few pages are missing already because I've done a few projects for people on this. Yeah, if you guys ever want me to draw something for you, just email me. I might put my email in the description of this video in case. But if you ever want something, I will try my hardest to draw it and send it to you. Just like give me an address, I'll try to draw and I'll send it to you. Oh shit, I got a Facebook message. Who wants my attention? My mom commented on my status. Well, that's great, Mom, thanks. Thanks for the support. Cool. I'm almost, I'm busy, Mom. I'm recording. The only problem is I don't tell anyone my recording schedule, so sometimes they'll message me in the middle of my recording, and as you guys know, if you've watched even like one of my videos, nothing is ever edited out of these videos. If you hear my sweet mate cussing in the background, that's going to stay in there. That was not edited out, it was on purpose, because I do not have the required material to edit it before I upload it, and and I do not have the patience to use the editing system that YouTube has already, because it's strange. It likes to try and change the format of my videos. Okay, there we go. I'm going to add teeth on his bottom side of his jaw here next to the fire. I'm going to darken these teeth and outline them a little bit more so you can see them almost clearly. The bottom teeth on a dragon are closer, better space to get that grind in so they can get the bones out. The upper teeth have a little bit more space so they can rip through meat. I have been into dragons for far too long. Even when I was a kid, the two animals I liked the most were dragons and wolves. Wolves are awesome. They're like the most amazing predators we have on Earth, because even in like near extinctions, they're adaptable. They can adapt to a different situation. Their food source is almost gone. They can adapt, hunt other things. Wolves are just incredible. They're survivors, man. I've always felt a deep connection with anything canine, though. Like dogs love me. Wolves, I've always wanted to have one, which is why when I get my own place, I'm going to try and live in one of the northern states that allow you to, that if you get a license that you can breed wolves. Because I've always wanted to have a wolf, like a little timber or gray wolf, maybe. I'm still detailing the fire. I view it more as like plasma, maybe, because it doesn't follow the same context and style of what fire would. It seems to flow a little bit more rigidly than fire, though it still has a strange flow to it. That is the current finished product of the fire. As you can see, I established my border down here. Where the fire ends is where my border ends. So I have established the border of the actual drawing itself. I may fill in those lines later, I may not, I don't know. But as for now, we are going to continue with this drawing of this piece because it is intense and rather structured. I am currently lining up my picture, my current drawn picture, to the actual picture to see if I messed up any of the details. It seems I did. I didn't make the plasma breath go up far enough on the right side. It's a little bit down further, so I'm going to correct that now by adding some lines out over here to continue the fire breath, plasma breath maybe, down that way. Okay, I'm going to fill that in now. Okay, I corrected my... That was my bad. I didn't read the picture quite right. So, yeah, that's something you have to do if you're not like a trained artist yet. If the picture you're using for inspiration, you're going to draw what you draw, line it up, make sure the details match, put it back down, draw some more, line it up, make sure the details match, and if you can do that, then eventually you can stop having to do that. But I've never really been good at drawing living things. Like, if you ever find me on Facebook and like stalk my pictures, one of my albums has a few pictures of things. Some of them I've drawn. There's a picture of Ventus from Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. That's not the original picture. That was someone sent me a picture of Ventus and asked me to draw him, so I did. It's not a perfect Ventus, but I think it looks pretty good. I mean, I was able to capture his face better than I've ever captured any face ever. Faces are not good with me, ever. We had to do gesture drawings, and I just had to do a gesture of a face. Really what I did was I just like cocked an eyebrow. That was the gesture I chose. I was just like, you know what? Jeff will appreciate this. Okay, there. I am just outlining the breath now. And I'm going to kind of smudge that a little bit. Not as much as the rest, just enough to kind of lighten it up. You can do the same thing if you sketch by taking your eraser and just lightly moving it down the line like this. Just kind of like without much weight. Just kind of touch it and just move it down the line where you're trying to lighten. And you just kind of move it. You can correct your own mistakes like that, and you just kind of move it down the line. It just softens it, makes it look almost natural, like it was meant to be there. And there's the fire breath weapon done. Okay, we're moving on. We're going to try and draw his, what looks like some spines coming off the bottom of his neck. They're kind of odd, as in they are webbed together in a strange fashion. So here we go. Oh, don't mind me if I stop talking. It just means I want to concentrate on making sure that I don't goof up on the lines. I'm going to make sure that line is correct. Nope, looks like I need it to be a little bit longer, maybe? Yes, it does. It needs to be about twice as long as I try to do it. Damn it. Okay. Well, not every first try is perfect. So we're just going to elongate that out. Maybe do something like that, maybe. Okay. We're going to try and line that up. See how that looks in comparison. Oh, much better. Oh, yeah. That's the stuff right there. Okay, so I'm going to erase some of those lines and follow that. I had Live and Let Die stuck in my head because in orchestra today we were playing the James Bond theme, or themes from 007, and Live and Let Die was in there, so just checking my lines right now. Good. They are what they need to be. The dimensions all look like they match out. I have my first two spines of the dragon done. As you can see, the webbing in between is kind of weird. The one down here is a little bit off, but I will go back and fix that later. I'm going to try and continue the webbing, but I have to get the site of the next web. Okay, it's kind of a small curve upwards. Okay, I'm seeing it. I can do this. Here we go. Bam, something kind of like that. Okay, make sure it checks up, checks up. I add a little bit more curve to it, but that's fine. You can change things around. Okay, the spine's a little bit shorter with that one. Let's see, that checks up. I am curving these spines a little bit. That is fine by me. I am perfectly willing to do that. I am going to keep doing that because it actually looks kind of cool. Okay, and there's the perfect lining. Okay, that looks nice. I'm going to continue these lines here. I'm going to keep doing that. Alright, and we've got the next spine ready to be drawn. Ooh, that one's kind of a mess. Okay, I'm going to go back, redo that. Ooh, geez. No, I don't like that at all. Okay. I need a little bit more of a... yeah, like that. Okay. Okay, it's about as long, if not a little bit longer, than the last one, so that'll work. Okay. Then we just curve it back. Ooh, voila. Magnifica. Ooh, okay. And the last part of the spine seems to come from behind here. Okay, and the webbing is just going to connect there. And there we have the dragon's head with the spining off the neck. That is pretty close to what this picture shows. Again, I'm going to just line up the drawing, and yeah, I've altered some of the variations. I've added a little bit more length between the second to last one and the last one. Not sure if I should fix that because I kind of like the way this one looks. I like it, so I'm just going to leave it. Hopefully it'll turn out pretty good. No, I think I may have to change it because it's going to cover up part of the wing. Yeah, okay, I'm going to change that. I'll just, I'll drop the spine a little bit down, maybe. Oh yeah, that's much better. Okay, and just a little bit there. Okay, let's see how that adds up. See if that checks out. Okay, yeah, that should work. Yeah, I've curved the spines a little bit more. They're not as curvy. On this drawing, they're a little bit more straight out. They kind of jut out. I don't really like that. I like the curvature. Maybe it adds kind of like a protective covering of the dragon's neck. So, okay, now we're going to try and work on the wings. I'm just going to check real quick what it should look like on the picture. Looks like there's a little line for the tail back behind it. It's got a nice little bone structure ridged out. The top border for my picture is the top of the horns. So these wings are not going to extend very far past those. There's some light markings on the wings. I'm liking these. They look very, very fierce. Almost as though this dragon has seen multiple battles and has lived to tell the tale of one of his dragon buddies. He's like Spyro, kicking ass and hanging out with friends. I'm talking about the old Spyro, not Skylander Spyro. Like Enter the Dragonfly Spyro. I think that was the last good one because he had a burned sheep. Who didn't love doing that? Okay, so the curvature off the wings. They're a little bit hidden from view. As in the wings are projecting behind the dragon. So you're only getting a small little inlet of the wings themselves, because the sight of this dragon is a little bit strange. Okay, I gotta throw in his shoulder now. It's going to go down off this direction. Yep, right by one of his spines. And it looks like a very powerful leg extends off that shoulder. Alright, and then it's going to come back up. A very, very large leg, it seems. It's going to curve into what appears to be a rather large chest of a dragon. Dragon that has seen many wars and lived to tell many tales. Okay, that's the rough idea of the leg and the chest. I'm going to work on that kind of even it out a little bit, add a little darkened structure on what I think the chest should look like. Okay, see, you see how I'm getting inspiration from this picture, but I'm not perfectly drawing the picture. This is how all of my art goes, how I draw everything. The knives behind me and on the wall, they are almost perfect renditions of my knives, but that's simply because I want to preserve my knives in what I thought would be a timeless capturing of them. When I draw artwork like for a class, or if I'm designing a set, I'll look at things and then draw my interpretation of it. Like recently when doing a contour line project for Design Fundamentals, I drew Malachor 5 from Star Wars KOTOR 2. Well, I didn't draw any of the Malachor 5 pictures from the game. I took a picture of a scene from the game that is a flashback of Malachor 5, and I drew my rendition of what I believe Malachor 5 should look like. It looks very similar. The curved pillars, the academy in the background. It looks very, very similar. I did the Traya Academy Core, or not the Treyas Academy, I believe it's called, which is that final place on Malachor 5, right before where you face Traya. Okay, so I'm adding a very powerful, definitive coloring to the edges of this dragon. He's going to have darker coloring because I like dark dragons. I've always liked the darker things in life. You can call me emo if you want, but that's not entirely true. I don't really fall into any genre or classification you can put me in. I've kind of outcasted the whole social thing. Okay, the inside of his leg is going to be a little bit lighter because it appears there's some form of light source coming off of his beam, which is to be expected as it appears to be some form of superheated plasma. So I'm going to fill in the rest of his coloring on his leg and chest. Just some simple sort of coloring. It gets darker as it moves out towards the edge of the picture. And then I will color in his spines and his little webbing in between them different colors than the rest, because I don't want him to match perfectly. Okay, there we go. We have sort of his skin, which, because it doesn't look like he has scales, it looks like he has skin, almost. It grows, it's very bright here, and it grows out to being dark. The bottom half is a very dark color, because what I'm seeing on here is his bottom half is not affected by the lighting coming off his thing. So I'm going to keep doing some shading, make it more filled, get rid of the white spots, the gaps in coloring, just filler touches here and there, a little bit more filler touches than I would love to have, but I'm doing this in a rushed form instead of taking my time, because I want to show you guys the whole process I go through when drawing. And while this is a hurried picture for me, it is already starting to look rather impressive, even though I only have one of the wings done. And it is the one that is showing less of the actual wing itself, but it does look pretty impressive. I'm going to fill in where I have the borders set. It's going to look rather weird, but almost like he's an amputee. I promise he is not. It's just that is where the border of my picture will be. I will have something covering the border outlines. It will not just be cut off. But the finished result of this picture will be posted on Facebook if you want to look at it. If you want to find me on Facebook, add me. Just say you've seen me on YouTube, and I'll add you, maybe. I don't know. I don't really get on Facebook that often though, so good luck catching me. But seriously, if you want me to commission something for you, just go ahead and send me a message. I'm going to look up at his leg and see if that is good. I made his leg a little bit more buff than it should be, but hell, this dragon's going to be an old war hero. Oh yeah, it's a big old buff leg there. Okay, there's where his tail should be. It's an odd looking tail with some fins coming off of it. I'm just getting a rough idea sketch off the picture, and then I'm going to make it my own. Yeah. Make it my own. Okay. Okay, so that's what I'm getting from the picture. It looks nice, but it's not fierce enough. I need to be fiercer. Should be extremely fierce and terrifying. Let's spike that tail a little bit. Yeah, spike it. That's going to be awesome. Okay, it's going to come out to a curve point and come back down, almost like a snake's tail. It's going to come over about right there. Okay, cool. Darken that aspect of it. And then its fins. His fins. One of them kind of cuts off in this picture, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to draw the whole fin. You can't really see it. In dimension, it is turned away from your perspective, so it's going to look smaller than the other one, but I promise you it isn't. It's all a matter of perspective. So here we go. We're just going to kind of spike these out. They look rather impressive and dark, because again, everything I draw is dark, kind of mysterious in a way. I don't know why, I just really like that kind of stuff. Like, ask any of my friends. They all know I'm into the mysterious and darker aspects of the world. I also believe that life is an untold mystery. You just kind of have to wind your way through it. And I'm going to touch up these little curve lines. Don't quite look like they're curving to the tip. There we go. Okay. That is my interpretation of this guy's tail. Looks rather impressive, I do say so myself. Okay, and his other wing, which looks to be almost identical to the first. Okay, I'm just going to try and capture the spine that he has coming from his wing. It looks rather impressive and curved. This all is very epic. I believe I chose correctly in the inspiration of my drawing here. I hope that everyone likes it when I post it up on Facebook, because this rough sketch is already looking very, very nice, if I do say so myself. And I am going to finish this rough sketch and draw it out on some watercolor paper. Ooh, yeah. Oh. Okay, there we go. His second wing almost looks as though it gets cut out of the picture. I'm just filling in some of the aspects of the wings here. I'm going to make the sort of webbing between them a little bit lighter, and the actual spines themselves are going to be a little bit darker, because I think that'll look a little bit more, it'll capture the eye a little bit better. I know I'm putting a lot of work into this rough sketch, but this is for your guys' benefit. I want to see you guys get to see an okay looking sketch of it if you don't get to see the amazing epicness that I put up. I mean, I'll try to post it up on YouTube maybe if you guys want me to. I can post what it finished looking like on my watercolor paper. Well, that's only if you guys actually watch this video and enjoy it. If you don't want to see it, if you don't enjoy this kind of video from me, I'm sorry, I apologize. It's just because, well, what better way to get myself motivated to actually win this contest than by filming it and capturing myself drawing this. Actually, all my videos that are posted to YouTube, my YouTube's actually connected to Facebook, so all my Facebook friends will see this video when I post it. So they will all get to see the process I am taking to make this dragon. And I'm altering what his horns look like simply because I was not happy with them. So I'm changing them, darkening them, all that jazz, outlining them before I go ahead and go into detail on them. I feel like I made his left jaw a little too long, but yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and change that, make his jaw a little bit shorter. There we go. I mean, it's not too much shorter, but that little bit does make a small difference. Okay, so here is, in any event, what I have just done. I altered this horn over here a little bit. I kind of shaded in over here. I will be adding some curve lines, or whatever the hell those lines are called. Contour lines on the horns themselves, because they have them inlet in, because that's how dragon horns grow. They kind of grow in like little rings. So I might as well do that. It looks like there are some scratch marks and stuff in the wings here. I may or may not throw those in. I don't know yet. I'm not quite sure. But I'm going to finish touching up, detailing, and yeah, here we go. We're just going to start by shading in the spines here. They're going to be a little bit dark. And by a little bit, I mean as dark as I can make them. Because I feel like they're the aspect that catches the most eye on the dragon. The spiky things on dragons are what people like to look at. I mean, especially if they're pretty. So filling in one of the spines, I kind of changed it, made it more spiky-ish, which alters some of the other lines I have, but I believe it was worth it because it kind of made it look more threatening, almost. And the one I'm closest to the front is the one I am filling in the darkest and the most, because it is the first one people see when this dragon is coming at you. So I fill that in, give it a lot of love, make sure there's not much white to it. And I'm going to go back through the rest, kind of fill in my white, make them a little bit more dark. Not as dark as the first one, because that is the one that I want to be the most attention. I don't want to be the biggest attention grabber for people. So that's good. Okay, now we're going to fill in the webbing between them. So this is what it looks like right now. We're going to put in the webbing between them, and then we're going to work on this wing here afterwards. We're going to work on that. Probably thin that bone structure down. I think I made it a little too thick. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. But here's what we're going to do. We're just going to move in little circular motions and fill them very, very lightly. But continue to go over until it's a little bit darker than what's outside of the spines of this filling stuff, because I don't want it to look exactly the same color, because then the whole point of doing this shading would be completely worthless, and I should have just left it all white and black. But white and black is boring. I may leave some white somewhere, but to me, white just isn't interesting. There are so many shades and variations of gray and black that you can make a very captivating, capturing piece using just those colors. And if you have any white in there, it just kind of ruins the whole effect. So white just doesn't seem like it would belong on a dragon anyway. No offense to anyone that loves white dragons, but come on, they don't look intimidating. They don't look scary. They don't fit in with any of the other dragons. And here we go. Just continue shading all the way back. Make sure you stay inside the designated area for that. Okay. As you can see, when it is next to the darker line, it looks lighter, but I promise you it's the exact same shade as the rest. It just appears that way because it's next to something that's darker. Okay, and now we're going to work on the wing. I think I'm going to slim down this wing a little bit. Not too terribly, just a little bit. Okay, we're just going to start from here, curve it up. Yeah, see, okay, yeah, that looks much better. That is the bone of the wing. That's what keeps the leathery things on. And as you can see, it's pushing towards the background of the piece. The other wing, not so much, but the other wing is further in the back, kind of flayed downward. So you can see it all better. Okay, now we're going to fill these little, what looks like carvings in his wings. Looks like something clawed or carved. Some things in there, and these little chink marks. They almost look like contour lines, but they don't go the whole way of the wing. They just go about halfway up, and then they stop. Yeah, see, okay, that's what it looks like. They're like that, and then it stops halfway up, and the rest of it's all like one solid color. It's weird. They look like contour lines, but contour lines go the entirety of the thing, so they can't be that. Okay, so we're just going to shade that a light grayish. We're just going to do that by simply tempering this out and then just barely scraping it along. It'll barely be noticeable, but it won't be white, which is what's important. It's a very subtle difference. It is definitely going to be the lightest gray I have on this page, but subtle differences can make very impressive art. So here we go. We're just going to take that all the way down. And even even going through those contour lines to add a little breaking into it. And maybe in the finished product I might add variations into the shading in. But as we have so far, this is what the wing looks like and shaded. It's a very, very light gray. It's even lighter than what we have on the wing. It's very light. I may change that eventually, but right now I like it. It looks nice. I'm just going to fill in the wing where there are white spots because that bugs me. I don't know why, but coming from the school I came from, our teachers kind of hammered into our head, there should be no white spots. You gotta fill them all in. There should be no white on the paper, unless of course something is meant to be white. Like when you're drawing a white tiger, or a white room, or someone with a white shirt on. If it is meant to be white, it should be white. Otherwise, there should be no white on your paper. Smack, smack, smack. No, actually just never hit us, but they did kind of tap the chalkboard and the whiteboard rather loudly. Kind of darken the wing a little bit to add a variance, a different variance. You can obviously see that this is different than this, and they're different than the spines. You can obviously see that. It is very, very clear. I'm going to elongate the spines out a little bit beyond the wing. There. That looks much more intimidating. You're getting fierce looking, buddy. We're going to fill in the wings on the other side. Here we go. Alright, okay, that's not too bad. It appears that the other wing has those on there too, but they start halfway up the wing and they just kind of stop. Okay, let's see those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's what that wing looks like. Very much like that. Okay, and now we're just going to shade very lightly along this one. And when shading lighter, it is smarter to shade faster so you can get the color you want without getting those ugly, dark, or ugly, sketchy, weird, awkward lines. There we go. And that is that wing done. So both wings are done. Now I've just got the horns, the head, and the tail left to do. So we're going to start with the head. It is going to be the bottom jaw. What we're going to do is we're going to have these little lines coming down on the bottom because the bottom of the jaw is actually a different color than the top of the jaw. So we're going to darken the bottom part of the jaw. Just a very thin line along it, but it is very, very dark. Easy to spot the outlining of the jaw. See? Now the inside of the jaw is going to be a few shades lighter than the outside. And how we achieve this is by once going over the area in a semi-light, medium-ish, and then by going over it once more with a little bit more weight. So you add a second shade, almost the same color, but different. The slight variance in the jaw is what adds the little pop to it, making it look a little bit fiercer. You can't see much, and the reason why this skin area is a little bit lighter, that is the interior of the dragon's jaw. Alright, and now for the top half, it is all one unified color because there is no shade variance in the top half of the skull, which actually kind of disappoints me because I enjoy shade variance. So I may or may not add some of my own. I mean, I've altered some things about the piece already. But I'm going to start on one side and just kind of meander my way over. Ooh, looks like I already added some shade variance. That's okay. I am going to make the nostrils darker, however, so you can still see them amongst the shading. So the nostrils are now darkened. Yep, because this dragon snout actually has nostrils. So that's simple. Okay, I need you to light back up, laptop, so I can look at my picture here. My inspiring picture. Unfortunately, the horns are a completely different shade than the rest of the skull, which is actually where my shade variance is going to come into play. Then, I guess, around the eye seems a little bit brighter. I actually left a little bit of area for the eye to grow there. So we're going to darken in the eye itself and then add a lighter undertone underneath it. There we go. There's our eye. He's right there. It's a really bit of an eye, but that's because this is a rather small picture. I can't really add the pupil and stuff. So here we go with the horns. Okay, add another one on back to kind of add some continuity here between my drawing and the picture itself. So we're going to shade these in a darker shade because they're darker in the picture. And again, the spiky things are what I want people to look at because this dragon is fierce. He has seen many, many signs of war, of battle, and he has lived to tell the tale. The blood still stains his horns, and he's going to let it sit there until it coats it a different color. This is how I imagine this dragon, because he just looks that way. He just looks like this guy has taken enough shit, and he's just going to just destroy people. So here, I have altered the horns a little bit while shading them. If I am blocking my voice, I apologize. But here are the horns. They are darker, they're just larger, and I added a third one back in the back. They are there. The horns upon his head. And now I shall add in the contour lines of the horns coming off the side to kind of add a little unifying stuff here. And I am doing this in complete and utter concentration. It will look almost like I was coloring it, which is what I want it to look like. These contour lines are going to be rather close together, rather nicely spaced. They're going to add a little bit of coloring in, a little bit of shade variance, have you, and whatnot. They're going to look like I was simply going back and forth with my pencil to color it because I am simply putting them that close together. My pencil is only moving in one direction. It's moving from the top of the page to the bottom. But it is going to look like I was just coloring this area. Just coloring the pen. I'm going to erase areas that either came outside of the horn and any markings that the horn was not perfect with. And I'm going to work on the other horn. Again, moving from top to bottom, simply, it is going to look like I am coloring it because these contour lines are very closely grouped. Alter his horn again because it just doesn't match up with the other one. I want his horns to match, damn it. Is that too much to ask? Shit. Okay, I dropped my pencil and I broke the light again. So, okay, I just want his horns to match up. We also have to come up with a name for this guy once I'm done. Joey, come on, bud, come on out. Get every. Okay, there we go. That's a horn that looks as though it adds up with the other one. I'm going to erase some of the sketch lines around it that I drew, make it look more epic and amazing, if that's even possible, because this guy already looks freaking awesome. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Getting back into the groove. Drawing a badass dragon. Alright, here we go. And the contour lines continue all the way up to the tip, and then go back down to the base of the horn to fill it in and look as though we were just simply coloring it the whole time. They curve slightly. There, that's beautiful. Okay. His horns are done, his head is done, now all that's left is the tail. The tail is very simple. You're going to take your pencil, go up and down, unifiedly, along the middle of it. You're just going to unify the coloring of it, make it all line up, and such. And then for this, we're just going to simply kind of master strokes from the tip to the tail. You'll see it at the end. You'll like it. If not, you'll get over it. Here we go. And we take it and we just unify the entirety of the tail. Goes in one direction. You cannot switch directions while coloring because then it looks cheesy. Do not do that. It is absolutely terrible. It is the worst thing you can do in coloring. If people just assume, oh, I'll make a curved color, and they go back to my original way of doing it, no, you have already failed. You fail at life. Don't do it. Just don't do it. I mean, unless, of course, the picture requires something like that, then it's fine to do it. Okay, so there's the middle of the tail. The tail is darker because, well, I want it to be darker. At the tip, it's almost black-ish, but it's the darkest part of the dragon. It's his tail. And then we're just going to go from the tip to the wing, back to the tip, to the tail, 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 back to the tail, tail. Get that all one unified color, a little bit lighter than the tail itself. That is what it should look like. Let's begin on the other side. Tip to the tail, back to the tip to the tail, 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 and fill. voila, we have our finished rough version of the dragon. If any of you actually stuck with me through this whole process, I humbly thank you. You guys are great. I love you. You're amazing. I love you in a strictly platonic way, of course, because this was an hour-long process. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you don't like these kinds of videos, tell me, let me know. I'll stop doing them. If you enjoyed, though, please, as always, leave a like or a thumbs up. Help me out. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel, and my name down there is a link directly to my channel, as anyone who's used YouTube before should know by now. Anyway, but peace out, guys, and I will see you in the next video.